Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar on building a culture of CRM for fundraisers. We are very excited to have you join. I am Jamie Plassman. I am the general manager here at Situa Technologies, and I also have with me Terry Dolan on our business development side of things.
Hey everybody, excited to be here.
All right. Terry's going to walk us through kind of the agenda for today.
We are going to be covering the topic of building a culture of CRM and specific to uh, those who are focused on AUM generation, right? Finding net new assets. We're going to cover quickly why it matters, why we're focused on building a CRM and kind of our thought process around that, building that culture. We're going to walk through some of the best practices that we've seen our clients provide and have built the functionality of our own CRM around. How those kind of fit into your everyday habits, talk a little bit about the partnerships that get created when those things happen, do some quick examples, and really just bring it on home with some real life experience here. So the reason why we kind of picked this topic, all of our own marketing efforts, it seemed like this topic that we've touched on in the past has really sparked some interest in our both our potential clients and our current clients, and it's really a problem that needs to be solved in a lot of organizations. People have different views of what a CRM is supposed to do, and different views on their own interpersonal relationship with the CRM. Over my sales and career, I've been on both the sales and marketing side, so I understand where those opinions might generate from, and some of the friction that may cause. But really, the reason why we focus on this is because we want to build that visibility, right? We want to not just have oversight, we want to gain insight into what is actually happening in our relationship development. And it really helps us to follow up on active opportunities better, making sure that nothing slips through the cracks. Things get busy, there's travel, there's all those pieces of noise in our lives that kind of get in the way. God forbid somebody leaves the organization or there's some long-term absence from their role, someone should be able to kind of come in there, pick things up, and not have any lapse in that communication flow. And it really, when we're doing it right, is going to cause momentum in our opportunity development and our movement through the pipeline. So that's a little bit about why we chose this topic, and moving on. Here we go. One more there, Jamie. Oh, sorry. We are on the right side. So when we think about the culture of CRM and really why it matters in our focusing just on the AUM development side of things, obviously deals take months, right? It is not just a one conversation situation, and they involve lots of different touch points and different subject matter experts that we might be dealing with. So to be able to kind of map not just the individual conversations and making sure that they're memorialized correctly and assigned to the right different opportunities, but being able to see if I pull open a consultant, if I pull open, somebody, an accountant or somebody else in the system, I should see those conversations relate to those people as well. So there's not any holes in the fact that those relationships might be shared between multiple people in the firm. So every time I open a conversation, I should see where it relates to for both money that's currently invested, opportunities in the pipeline, and all the different internal and external folks that touch that. We also want things to become more predictable, right? We're always trying to forecast where we're going to be a quarter from now, 3 quarters from now, 2-3 years from now. And once we have solid momentum and processes kind of built in place in our CRM, that predictability becomes a lot easier over time. And we want to be able to see where our opportunities are coming from, which marketing campaigns are making sense, which events that we went to, which types of meetings that we had, which of those things are developing business for us now. And that changes. And we tend to kind of focus on things that kind of always worked in the past, but might not be working right now. And if we don't have that data in the CRM, it just becomes anecdotal, and it can really be anybody's opinion, and we could be making false presumptions. So this slide was entitled "Sharing Selling Principles." I really think it should be "Sharing is Caring," but got outvoted on that one. But what it's really about is that relationships compound when captured, right? If discussions and insights that we're getting from clients and consultants aren't properly memorialized and aren't easily visible, and we can't report off them and we can't visualize them, they become lost. They just become one point in time, and we can't build any kind of analysis off of that. And that consistent message and consistency, both in our touch points, but also in our messaging. If we're told by a consultant that they're not particularly interested in small cap Asia Pac opportunities, we shouldn't be having that conversation multiple times because it wasn't memorialized properly throughout the firm. So to have those kinds of consistent touch points not only happen, but properly memorialized really makes a big difference. And visibility enables support. Colleagues can assist. We can cover territory, as I mentioned. Unforeseeable things happen, and somebody else should be able to come in and pick up and have oversight and insight into what's happening in those opportunities. When we're properly documenting things in the CRM, there's obviously less manual reporting, right? We can use the fields of the CRM to both visualize the data, and then maybe have some workflow items alert us. So it's not just a dashboard, but maybe a task in an email that comes to us and brings it to our attention. If we are just free flow texting into one general comment box, we're not helping ourselves or the rest of the organization in gaining value from those conversations. And then it supports every kind of selling cycle, right? There's obviously our road warriors, our field teams. There's desk coverage. There's all sorts of things happening from both an investor relations standpoint and from marketing and from our fund sales folks. So all those different interactions with the CRM, we should be able to maximize it for those teams so that each team is seeing the fields that matter to them, seeing the information that matters to them, but not adding clutter, right? We should never have, say, one contact screen for everybody in the organization or any type of contact we're looking at. We'll talk about this in a little bit, if we have fields that don't make sense to us, we tend to make mistakes. Jamie, you want to take things over?
Sure. So when we start taking a look at in general the proper use of the CRM, we start talking about what it means to have a good CRM culture, right? And like many things, culture is not something that is easy to do overnight. It does take a little bit of effort to get there, but it pays off the dividends quite well once it goes forward. So when you start to take a look at doing a culture of a CRM, you want to really start taking a look at what it means to have the good data behind there. And part of what that means is not just about the completeness or the accuracy of the data, but it really comes down to is having it be timely, right? If you're waiting a week or 2 weeks to enter in your notes after your meetings or updating your opportunities, right? That's not happening in a way that's generating that good culture. It needs to be in near real time, right? After you get out of those meetings, later that day or even immediately afterwards, taking those notes, making those updates, and keeping it so people know that it's accurate and it's meaningful. And they can trust the fact that it actually is representing where you are in reality. And as part of that, it comes down to is saying, well, what can the CRM do to make it so it makes you want to do things on a regular basis and constantly update it? And part of that is to use it as knowing what is your next step. So every time you have a phone call or an email or an appointment with somebody, is knowing what is that next step for you. Do you have a reminder when they said follow up in 2 weeks? Are you relying on your own personal memory for that? I know I wouldn't. I love having the fact that I have that next follow up, knowing in 2 weeks I told them I'd call them back, or maybe it's a month from now. Or maybe they said next quarter, whatever it is, knowing that I have that next step set up to help me remind myself what's going on, where we were, and where I should be going next so things don't fall through the cracks. Right? You want to make sure that whatever you do, you're reflecting reality. You are accurately depicting where something may be in a sales pipeline. What is this next task is something that I still need to do versus something that's already been completed. That this is what happened inside of that meeting, inside of those notes. I don't trust my memory 6 months from now to say what I talked about today. I love the fact that it's memorialized inside of the CRM so I can easily recall what's going on, so I can pick up from those conversations from where they were left off, as compared to trying to have to rehash the same things over again. Right? As part of this, you want to make sure you understand who is involved in those opportunities. Who are you actually speaking to? And it's not just the people at the firm, right? Sometimes they bring in outside parties, they bring in investment consultants, they bring in lawyers, they bring in different folks. You want to make sure that you understand who is involved in those opportunities. Who are you speaking with? So that point in time, you can view across the board what's happening. Particularly when you start seeing investment consultants, you may be working with that same consultant on two, three, five different clients. You want to know when was the last time you spoke with that consultant. It might not have been on the opportunity that you're working with. It might have been with somebody else. So to make sure that you understand all of those communications, all of those conversations that you've had, what you've told them in one place, so it doesn't counteract in another, or it does if they didn't respond well on a prior call to that particular point, don't bring it up again, or be able to address the challenges that they might have brought up with you. If they asked a certain question prior, you may want to reiterate the fact that you've already thought about that question and have that be set up. Right. And you also want to make sure from a timeliness perspective that you actually see the progress on all sides of the application. Terry mentioned before that he spent time both on the marketing side as well as the sales side, and being able to have a common truth between both teams, having the CRM accurately reflect where things are going means less conversations that need to happen, less emails, less phone calls, or Slack messages between folks to see, well, what is going on and where things are. People can view that information and see the engagement, see what's going on, see what's working versus what's not, simply right from within there. All right. And as Terry mentioned before, you want to make sure that the CRM is fitting your process and your cycles, right? You don't want to have to morph your sales processes to meet what the CRM needs to have. The CRM should be able to be easily modified and tweaked to capture what you're doing within your inside of your sales. Now that could be a couple of different things, right? That might mean something like your sales phases, right? Are you calling it early, mid, or late stage? Or are you calling it, intro to lead, dealing with RFP completed, right? Finals presentation, whatever, however you speak internally about your sales process, you want the CRM to accurately reflect that. You don't want to start having two different types of verbiage, two different lexicons that you're working with to say, well, this is what we say when we're talking into the CRM speak, but this is how we really talk in our meetings. You want those to match and consider reflect each other. And you want to make sure that when you're looking at this, you're not asking your salespeople to spend a whole bunch of time and energy updating their CRM with fields that no one cares about. Right? You want to make sure that the fields that are in there are actually the ones that people are going to be reporting on. People are viewing information that needs to be there. And as part of that, that could vary based off of where you are in the process, right? You might have a different set of fields being displayed if you are dealing with additional funds coming into an existing account, or if it's a new logo altogether. Or maybe it's a scenario of you have different fields might be completed at different stages of your opportunity. An example of that may be at the early stages, in the lead stage, you may not know what the target AUM is going to look like, how much they're looking to invest with you. But you would want to know that by the late stage. And if you don't know that at the late stage, you could argue that you're not at late stage. You're maybe still in the mid stage of that opportunity. So having those fields dynamically update and those templates change depending on what you're looking at. So at that point in time, you're accurately reflecting what's going on. And you're also making sure that you're having all the information that you want to see all in one spot. So, for example, with inside of Situate CRM, right, you have the ability to attach milestone activities. Not every phone call, not every email needs to be added and tagged to that opportunity, but you want to know those key pieces. This is what moved this opportunity forward. This is where their key issues are documented. You've attached potentially the finals presentation or the RFP directly to that opportunity, so you're not having to spend a whole bunch of time looking through different systems, looking on your local share drives to find out, well, what did you say to them? What did that presentation look like? Having that all be in that one spot. And when you start to do this and you start building this culture where this becomes the reality on the day-to-day basis, you're now actually building a situation where the information that's in there is now relevant and meaningful. And now it becomes something that people want to use more and more. So the more complete, the more accurate, the more trustworthy that data is, the more people are going to want to use it. And the more they want to use it, the better that data becomes. And it becomes a self-fulfilling cycle, right? The more you take advantage of it, the more powerful it becomes, the more people want to use it. Now, unfortunately, the reverse is also true, right? If people stop using the system or not update that data regularly, there's going to be less of a desire to want to use it, and you're getting into that into a negative spiral on that situation. I would equate this very similarly to doing exercises, right? It could be a scenario of if you're exercising on a regular basis, you're going for your daily run, right? And that becomes part of your culture, part of your habit. That run becomes easier and easier as you go forward. And then eventually it gets to a stage where you miss the run. If you don't run that day, you feel sluggish, you feel tired, you're not energized. You crave that exercise. Where the opposite can also be into effect, where if you just sit on the couch every day and don't do anything, that run becomes harder to start with. It makes it more difficult to do, and it becomes more challenging. So it becomes that self-feeding piece, and the CRM is the same way, right? If you start using it, you start finding value in it, you want to use it more, and you're building that culture up. And it's not something you can do overnight, just like you can't go from sitting on the couch to running a 5K. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get there, right? You have to work and go towards it, and the first few days might be difficult, but it overall is worth it in the long run. So if we start to take a look next at well, what are those everyday habits? What does that mean to build that culture, to get into that routine like you would with your runs? Right? You want to start saying, what are you doing on a daily basis within your CRM? What that means is you're starting to take a look at what is on your dashboard. What do you care about that day? So when you first log in, you're seeing things like what meetings do you have today? Who else has been speaking with that firm? Um, who might not have what things might be missing? What are our next steps? What are you looking at for today, tomorrow, the next day? So you're viewing on a daily basis what your tasks are. So when you come in, that now becomes one of the first things you look at and helps you drive your day going forward. You mark things done, you mark things complete, you now know what you have left and what's going on. Right? And you want to do that every day, looking at that. So that point in time, a good culture of CRM means that the first thing you do is you open up your Outlook and you open up your CRM, and those stay up and open all day long. Right? That's usually what a good culture of a CRM reflects. Now, not everything needs to be reviewed on a daily basis. For example, if there's something that happens on a sales opportunity that changes the stage, sure, update it at that one time, but set some time apart every week to take a look at your opportunities to see, well, is everything in the proper stage? What have I been looking at? Have I had the proper meetings with them? Has it been a while since I last spoke? Right? There's a common phrase that people use that that time kills deals, right? So understanding, are you being aggressive with what you need to do in having those conversations and having those meetings? And has it been 2 or 3 weeks since you last spoke to them? And should you be reaching back out again? right? And 2 to 3 weeks might not be a bad thing if you're dealing with an earlier stage opportunity. Maybe it'd even be a month or so before you actually reach back out to somebody. But if you're in your late stages and you're in your closing your contract stages, and it's been 3 weeks since you spoke to somebody, there might be a problem there, right? And similarly, you want to make sure that you're having the information that's updated on a regular basis so your different teams could look at it. Your marketing team is updating the CRM to help you understand, well, what's going on with your with the marketing efforts, right? Who have they sent emails out to? Have somebody open that message? Did they click on the link? And having that be timely and having that be something that the sales team can also take a look at is highly valuable. And similarly, you want to make sure that you have access to the CRM wherever you are. So you want to have the ability to access it from your mobile devices, right? So that point in time, you can make those notes. For example, Situate has as part of it in the Situate to Go module, right? You can do a voice to text to enter in your notes. So that point in time, as you come out of a meeting, you can easily open up that record, speak your notes into it, so that point in time you can remember what's happening right from within that meeting. While you're sitting in the cab, whatever it might be, you have that information be captured while it's still fresh in your mind. So it's not something that you're waiting till a Friday afternoon to enter in your notes, and you're now confusing one conversation with another, or you're forgetting some key details that may not be there to look at. Right. So when you start to take a look at this, right, it's all about not necessarily helping you out, right? There's definitely a value of having a culture where it's something that you work on together. You work on for yourself, and you're having all of those reminders. You're seeing where your opportunities are, but a lot of it comes down to having the collaboration across the teams, right? Similar to the to somebody who is doing your exercise and you're out there doing your run. A lot of times it becomes much more helpful if you have a running club. You're meeting somebody else that helps you drive. Hey, I can't skip today's run because I'm already meeting Johnny or Susie out there to do this, right? Having that collaboration, that working together is helping you build that culture, right? You're working with the marketing team to understand, are they providing you with the proper number of leads, and are those leads of a high enough quality? Right? Are the prospects engaging with those emails, with those marketing messages? Or have they connected into all of those other places to see what's happening, and are those campaigns working? So the marketing team can start to update the CRM to capture that. So you now have the ability to see, hey, I can follow up with this particular prospect because I noticed they opened up this email. They've been interacting with our campaigns here. They're a much more warm lead for me to go after, and I don't have to wait till the marketing team sends me my weekly or monthly report on what's going on. I can view that in near real time to help keep track of that. Right. And similarly, you have the reverse loop where the marketing team can take a look to see, well, I sent you all these leads, and those leads really weren't all that good, right? They might have been a marketing qualified lead, but the sales team rejected them. Well, then they can see why, and they can see how they could modify and update their marketing programs to provide you with the proper leads. And you don't need to be doing all of this over phone calls, all over meetings, right? People can see this and make adjustments as they go forward. And having that feedback loop, having that connection makes a huge impact, and having it be something that's quick and easy to do. Now, from an example perspective, we've talked a lot about doing different things from a pipeline perspective. So we're looking at having um, a meeting based off of what's going on. So you could see very simply with inside of the CRM who has recently interacted with one of our marketing campaigns. So you could go ahead and build that lead in the CRM quickly and then have those follow-ups. Or maybe you can see quickly that it's been a while since somebody's been in a pipeline. So we can see that this opportunity has been around for a while and it hasn't actually changed stages in 6 months. You can look at it to say, is this something that's real? Is it not? Is there some next step that we need to do? Or maybe you're working on things like a trip planning perspective, right? You want to do a report that shows you, we jokingly call our taxi report, right? So it provides you that 360-degree view of what's happening inside of that opportunity in that client. What were the recent activities? Are they invested with anything else? Have they looked at you in the past? So it gives you that, a couple of page report that you could take a look at while you're sitting in the car, in the cab waiting to go to the pace, or you're looking at it in the on the airplane as you're flying out. So having those types of plannings be available, or maybe it's a scenario of you're looking at, I'm going to be going out to Minneapolis at the end of the month. I want to see all of the other endowments in that area that have a certain amount of money that are interested in your in large cap products, for example, and you could view that. But it's not just about Minneapolis. You want to search everyone who is nearby. So show me everybody who's in a 10-mile radius, so you can also pick up on those folks that are also in St. Paul, right? You have the ability to view the larger space right within there and get involved in those trip planning events and making that be a simpler process. But you also want to take a look at doing the campaign follow-ups, right? So something was sent out. Did you actually respond back to that prospect based off of their interaction? So it's really quite simple with inside of your CRM, or you want it to be a simple place within your CRM to be able to say, show me everybody who's clicked a link but yet has not been contacted. So you now have a list of people that you need to reach out to. So it's no longer a scenario where the marketing is providing a whole bunch of leads and the sales team is just dropping the ball by not reaching out to them. You have the ability on both sides to see what's going on. And a lot of the times I talked about it before about the consultant tracking, right? The investment consultants have a lot to do with inside of our space and being able to understand who have you spoken to, what have you said to them, what other opportunities are you working on with them, where else do you have existing relationships with them, right? What other assets are you managing that consultant is involved with? And being able to understand the scope of that is huge to see where those connections are, how those centers of influences are trending. Are they positive? Are they negative? So, as an example, if you're looking at a fundraising perspective, you're seeing that somebody, one of the consultants, isn't really vibing that product for you right now. Well, the client success team would be able to, the client relations team could be able to look at that to say, well, where may those assets be at risk? So having that huge um, collaboration becomes helpful because now everything is that single source of truth. Now, all of these things you're looking at should be on a scoreboard, right? It should be on your home page where you can actually take a look at viewing this on a regular basis. You can see how long a sales opportunity has been in the process. Is there a next step set up? Is there the next meeting already scheduled? Or do I need to reach out to create something? Right? How long has it been inside of that stage and what moved it from one stage to another? So viewing those milestone activities and being able to keep track of that and knowing that there is that follow up that you need to deal with, right? That something isn't being forgotten about. So you can quickly look at a sales opportunity and see, is there a next stage? Is there a next step that you want to take? Or is there nothing? So you need to create that next step. And you could then also keep track of, is one person doing the majority of the work, and you should actually be sharing that with others. And being able to keep track of well, how well are those leads coming in? Are we getting the right pieces of information in? Are we getting the right leads in the door? Or are we wasting a whole bunch of time with a whole bunch of sales rejected leads because it's not getting the right information in there? So, kind of a quick wrap up on this. You really want to focus in to create that culture. You want to focus on how can you help the sales team, the fundraisers, do what they need to do quickly and avoid as much friction as possible. Not making them fill in a whole bunch of information that's not required and only caring about the things that really make sense. But on top of that, how could you make their lives easier so that point in time you're helping them out so the CRM becomes a tool to help them as compared to a just a place that needs to be done, right? This unfortunate task that has to be accomplished that they regret or reluctantly do. And as part of that, you're now creating a scenario where all of that information is stored in that one part. I've brought this word up before, but this shared truth that you would have, it's not in four different spreadsheets and in this person's Outlook and having this information be stored in all different spots. Consolidating that, having it be consistently put in where everyone can see what's going on. They can see what's happening. The marketing team can help view what they're looking at and help make the proper adjustments that they need to do. The whole concept being is the CRM should be helping you drive your business forward. It should be helping you bring in new leads and not just this tool that people have to do, right? And building that culture where it actually is creating value is all part of that piece. Now, so when we take a look at this, right, these are the things that we've heard and what has actually worked from a CRM perspective over the last 30 years of us doing CRM with inside of the asset management industry, right? We've done this for 500 clients. We've had a lot of experience with this, and we'd be happy to help you work forward to help build out and create that culture as we go forward. All right, in that case, I'm going to pass it back over to Terry.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Jamie. I know we're coming up right at time here, but just if you are without a CRM and you are or looking to make a change, we can definitely help. Check all the boxes that Jamie and I covered today. I think that the big takeaway for me always in this conversation is that the CRM isn't for oversight, right? It's for insight. We should be gaining as much value as we possibly can from all of our different roles by having that good culture of everyone putting in their due diligence in the CRM. And we certainly have tools within the CRM that can help us do that in terms of data visualization, in terms of workflow, task management, and all those good things. And lastly, the ability to configure right down to your individual processes and use cases and not, as Jamie mentioned before, have fields that don't make sense to you or your role or the person or entity you're looking at that particular time. And I think that's where a lot of to its value really lies.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time. Hopefully you found this useful. We'll hopefully see you on our next webinar.
Thanks, everyone.